I'm just going to record myself doing the answer key to this quiz. I'm not going to do much talking, but I just want to go through the process. So if you did get anything wrong in this quiz, you can watch this or go to the problem you had wrong and just view what I did so that you can learn from it. So it's just going to simply be my answer guide with little talking. Okay, 5 is an answer, -3 is an answer, and the 4. This next scenario, this is going to be slightly harder to factor, but you must have 0 through the process just to prove that. The AC method, ways of getting 30x squared to add up to 11x. That's just simply 5 and 6 or 6 and 5. It doesn't matter the order. So factor by grouping. Factor out of 5. 3x plus 5. X plus 2. -2. And -2. So that's a repeat. And then -5/3. Okay. Not difficult at all. Should be easy. Bring down the 6, multiply, and you get -72. I'm going to use my calculator. -4 times -72 is 288. And when you combine here, you get 12. And I feel good about that. -4 times 12 is the -48 that we need. So this should be factored by grouping. So this is cubic. It's my minus x squared minus 72x plus 12 equals 0. I split this down the middle. All I can do is factor out an x squared, so 6x minus 1. So for this, I can factor out a -12, and I'm going to have 6x minus 1. Again, just be careful here that -12 times 6 is the -72. -12 times -1 is the 12. You cannot change the problem. So you're left with x squared minus 12 and a 6x minus 1. So add a 1, divide by 6, results in 1/6. The -4 that was given, and then there's 2 more answers. You have to add a 12 and then take the square root of 12, which is really plus or minus 2 root 3. Okay, so 12 is 4 times 3. 4 is the perfect square. It becomes the 2. Root 3, the 3 stays inside the radical. Okay, this next one should be quartic. This is the one where we'll see lots of zeros. 1, -1, -3, 3, -28, 28. Okay, bring down the 1, multiply, you get your 0. Get 0 here. You multiply, you get 0. You multiply, you get -28, and it works out. So this is going to be a quartic. So 1x to the 4th, no cubes, but there are -3x squared, no x's, and my constant is -28. So I need x squared minus 7 and an x squared minus 4. Okay, now this can't be factored, but this can be x plus 2, x minus 2. So negative 2 is an answer, positive 2 is an answer, the one that was given, and then here you have to add a 7 and take the square root of 7. So it's plus or minus root 7. Okay, so again, just make sure you're, oh, I just saw a mistake here. This has to be a positive. So if this is positive, this can't factor, but I would subtract the 4 and then take the square root of negative 4, which means these are i's. So they're two imaginary answers. So again, let me just show you this since I messed this up. To solve this, you have to subtract the 4, and then when you take the square root of negative 4, it's a positive 2i and a negative 2i. So here, I use my 8. Still must get 0. That's 5. That's a 40. This is going to be a 7. 8 times 7 is 56. So this last problem, scenario 5, this is where you will simply use the quadratic formula. Okay, the quadratic formula, you just substitute the numbers. A is 1. There's a 1 here. B, C. It's already in standard form. Opposite of B plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times my A times my C all over 2 times 1. And then all I ask for you to do is figure out the value of the discriminant, which in this case is 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 7, and you get a negative 3. Since it's negative, it means we have two imaginary. So I put an I, make the negative 3 a positive 3. So it's I root 3 all over a 2. Okay, that takes care of the majority of the quiz. This right here, we're working backwards. So you're writing the rule based on these zeros. So if 0 is a 0, then that just means x is a factor. Then I have a repeat, but I have to write it twice. Okay, so 5 is repeated. That just means if you would graph this, it's a turning point at 5 along the x-axis. So I'm just going to do FOIL here. I get negative 10x and a 25. Okay, so outers and inners will add up to the negative 10x, and then all we have to do is distribute the x to make it cubic. So it's x cubed minus 10x squared plus 25x. And you can type that in your calculator, hit graph, and you're going to see what that graph looks like. Okay, it's pointing down on the left, pointing up on the right, but it turns at 5 and then points down. Okay, so here I wanted you to factor this. So you factor out an x, and then this is just x minus 3, x minus 3. So we really only have two places where you have x-intercepts. So you have one at 0, and then 3 is a repeat. So very similar to this. So very similar looking graph. It's going to end up, because you have to know the idea of end behavior, it's going to point down, and then it's going to point up. So you need to just make sure, again, I don't care about this turning point, but you want to show that it's a repeat at 3. Okay, it's going to bounce off of 3 and go up forever. Okay. This one we're not solving, so all you have to do is split it down the middle, factor out an r squared. So it means on this side we have to factor out a negative 9, which will give us 3r minus 5. Negative 9 times negative 5 is the 45. R squared minus 9, and 3r minus 5. Now, if you stop here, you're going to lose a point. 9 is a perfect square, and we're subtracting. So we can write r plus 3, r minus 3, and 3r minus 5. That is fully factored. Okay? This last problem and I'm at the 10-minute mark, I am going to do long division. So I set up this problem as a long division problem. And I'm just looking at 2x into 2x cubed. It's going to be an x squared. And then when I multiply, I'm going to have 2x cubed plus 5x squared. Okay. And then I need to change things to its opposite. So I'll take a pencil. And then when I add, the x cubes are gone. I have 4x squared. Bring down the minus 20x. And I start this process over again. So it's just simply a 2x. What's up top gets multiplied by what's outside, and everything should be lined up. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 5 is 10x, but I switch it to its opposites, and I get negative 30x. Remember, we have to get a remainder of 0. So let's see if this will work out. This is going to be 2 into negative 30 is negative 15. And when you multiply, you're going to see you get negative 30x. Negative 15 times 5 is negative 75. Change these to its opposite, and we feel good that we got a remainder of 0. So then the last thing we need to do is just factor the quotient. Okay, real easy factoring problem. It's going to be x plus 5, x minus 3. And it is fully factored up. You can't even see that. There you go. So that took me under 12 minutes to go through those 9 problems. Hopefully you got it perfect, but if you didn't, hopefully you learned from your mistakes before we take our actual Chapter 4 test. So thanks for watching. Take